My name is Craig Kreskis. I'm a member of the Dynamics ERP team at Microsoft, and I am incredibly excited about today's webcast because it's full of demos. But first, before I get started, I wanted to talk about our Microsoft team and how we are continually working to ensure businesses have the information that they need to understand how they can be using technology to their advantage. Today, I'll call it mobile work, has become the norm. And that is almost all businesses have employees that are doing work from their home, on the road, and on site with their customers. The trick is how do we ensure that their productivity contribution and level of collaboration with others is the same as if you were sitting in the room next door or in the same conference room. As mobile computing becomes the expected standard for work and life worldwide, the cloud offers an effective way to extend productivity, security, and access to information working anywhere, anytime, and on any device. So, technology that enables people to do more with less time and resources. So these are the kind of the roadmap I have for today and the demos that I've lined up to sort of present to you this mobilizing productivity of your business. And so these will guide us through today's webcast. So it's around remote access to the ERP application. We'll talk about data analysis tools, business class communication and collaboration. And so my goal is to share with you these tools that our Microsoft customers have today. The device, and I'll call it the doorway, or I like to refer to it as the vehicle, has truly become irrelevant. At the end of the day, companies just want to get stuff done. And so during this session, just a heads up, you'll see a few transition screens, and that's just me changing between the three devices that I plan to show today. So the first entry would be on my PC here. I'm logged into my Dynamics ERP system. This is the entry in for our web client. What's really unique about the Dynamics ERP products is that we offer customers sort of an option for deployment and as well as acquisition. In this case here, we've deployed a web client. There are also customers that are using the traditional desktop client. And then we offer customers that hybrid or kind of a unique approach where they can do a combination of both desktop and web client. So you can even see on the bottom right corner, we give a status bar, status update that this is connected. So I want to know that I'm connected to my ERP system. Since I'm in a browser, I did hit the F11 key, so I'm just in full screen, so you don't have to waste real estate with seeing the URL. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was remote access. So here I am from a web client. And, the biggest challenges I see with organizations looking at a new system is user adoption. Microsoft, we leverage the experience and the comfort factor that most people have in using our other applications, such as the navigation lists and the navigation pane and favorites, and I'll get into some more as we get into the presentation. So you can see here on my home page, I can maximize or minimize. I can sort of move things around. This is the role-based homepage. We offer 34 or 35 out-of-the-box role-based homepages based on industry and based on roles in an organization, so we don't clutter up this homepage with windows or reports or tasks that are not relevant to that particular role. So starting up, again, I have a comfortable user experience as well as a role-based homepage. You see, for me, I set up here a purchase requisition status, so these are my requisitions. Over in the top right corner of my time cards gives me a quick, simple way to do employee self-service, whether it's to print a pay stub or submit time. In the bottom right corner, you see Business Analyzer. This is one of the reporting engines that I'm surfacing into my home page, so it's giving me information up to date right at my fingertips. And then over the left-hand side, you have the to-dos, right? These are tasks or action items that have been assigned to me or reminders of activities or alerts that are happening in our system, in our business. So, for example, I want to know how many customers are over my credit limit. Right there I could see 97. That's a hyperlink. I can drill into that and get into some of the details. One other maybe quick navigation here. I wanted to show you an area page and drill into purchasing. You see here again just the familiar look and feel. You've got the ribbon up in the top hand part of the screen. And these are contextual. You see them in purchasing, so obviously those activities or tasks that are in the ribbon are contextual to purchasing. So if I want to set up a new vendor or transact with a purchase order or make a payables transaction, I can do that. And then you've got the list of all your vendors here. And then, of course, I just wanted to double-click in and just show you the window. I can either show a transaction or a master record here. I just like to give folks kind of an entry to see what the system looks like. And this is a vendor setup card, pretty simple, straightforward. But what makes it unique, and I'm going to kind of call out here, you see adjacent to the contact at the top, as well as my address IDs, my purchase and remit to. These are set up so that I can have instant messaging or dialogue between people within my organization, or in this case here, with customers and vendors. I need to be able to have that dialogue so I can quickly send Lindsay Vaughn. I can see she's pretty red, so that must be busy or on a phone call. I can invoke an email, or I can send a quick instant message or schedule a quick phone call. And that's just leveraging some of the infrastructure that, or software that comes with some of the other Microsoft products, such as Skype for Business, or formerly known as Lync. So that's all I had really for the home page here. Again, you can see some of the quick links, so I could set up external pages or other inquiries, windows, things that are relevant to me in my role to streamline my activities during my day, and then my reports over on the right-hand side. So I can drag, drop, move these around. Just wanted to give everybody a sense of kind of simplicity of that user experience. But we're here to talk about mobility. And while I addressed that area of accessibility, I was thinking about this presentation, and as I get into some of the devices that I wanted to connect to the webcast, I remember reading a study a few months ago, and I know it's somewhat dated. Maybe the sample size isn't large with 300 IT pros, but it was sort of telling when I read at how many employees are dedicating, or leveraging tablets for their day-to-day work, or how many people are bringing in devices and the types of devices that our IT teams need to support, but also to be able to get information to people in that organization. And I know that the disconnect there, and I wanted to connect here. What you see is my phone. So I'm logged in to my Windows mobile phone, and this is my home page that I set up here, and I'll just swipe with my finger. You can see I've set up my phone and my email, and if I swipe to the right here, I can see a list of my applications. And what I was going to get into first is one of the applications that Dynamics makes available to our customers, and that's called Business Analyzer. And it's an app, and this is more what I would consider from a consumption standpoint. So this is an example where somebody in the organization might be an executive, VP, or somebody who is looking at information and just consuming it and using it for discussions later on. It does bring in this case here in the Windows Phone, or in other platforms I'll talk about momentarily, my SQL Server reporting services report. So I've got graphs and charts, whether the ones that come with Dynamics ERP or those that you design on your own. I can take my finger and just click on that budget tracking report. And again, with this in my hand while I'm on the go, I can sort of see the information that's important to me. So I swipe to the right, left. Now I'll swipe to the right here. I can see some of the other pages of information. I've got my other companies that are set up here, and then this is a multi-company report. Maybe I want to see the top items by sales quantity. So I know it's a kind of a thumbnail view from this device, but again, it's providing people with that information from their fingertips, on the go. And again, to me, I think of this as more of a consumption device. Let me disconnect that. I want to come back to the presentation. So beyond consumption, right, there's collaboration. And in this scene, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the tablet version or the PC version of that same application. It's called Business Analyzer. Anybody who is using a Windows 8 device or any Android or iOS devices, you can go out to the store and go search on Dynamics, and you'll see Business Analyzer as the first item in your search. and you can play around and see some of the sample data that comes with it. But in this scenario here, when I think about collaboration, it's more than just consumption. I need to collaborate with other team members and sharing those results, but also maybe taking some of the reports and maybe presenting it to shareholders, stakeholders in the organization, and maybe building out a presentation for my senior leadership team. So let me come in here, and you can see this is my Windows 8 device, and here's Business Analyzer as the app. And here's that budget tracking report. I'll scroll over to the right. You can see some of the other examples of sample data that came, and particularly I'm interested in receivable summary. So I can just grab that report, come up to it in full screen, and when I click on it, right-click, you see that I have access to information on when this report was last generated, but in this case here, I just want to copy that. Again, taking that step beyond just consumption, I'll minimize Business Analyzer, and I've got PowerPoint running in the background, so I'm getting ready for myself. I'm getting ready for a board meeting, and I want to talk about our monthly strategy, and I've already taken some of the results here, but I'm going to grab that receivable summary and go ahead and paste that into this report. Great. I'll do a file save as, and I'm going to save this to the cloud. So I've got a number of cloud folders where I use to share and collaborate with my team members. So I'll go ahead and browse out there, put it into this folder called Monthly Planning Presentation, hit Save, and now I'm done. And then when I refresh into my folder structure here, you see that I've got a presentation now called the Monthly Planning Presentation. And what happens is it opens this up into my PowerPoint Online. So this is part of the cloud version, if you will, or the online version of Office products, in particular PowerPoint. And the reason I bring this up and the relevance is that I can get to this link from virtually any device that I have. And then I'll go ahead and scroll through. And again, this is part of that collaboration. I can have others be a part of that, kind of share some of that experience with me, and we're off and running. So let's recap just for a second what we've seen so far. Basically, the entire one Microsoft experience. I started out with the business apps, Microsoft Dynamics ERP system. I talked about the platform and how that is hosted on the cloud, and kind of give you a glimpse of some productivity and integration with Office and Office 365. But we also need to consider sort of the multitude of devices that are in play at the office. Well, I'd love to say, as a Microsoft employee and a shareholder, I'd love to think that everybody's using a Windows device, but the reality is we have a multitude of devices out in play in the office. And so, one of those things, as I talk and get into that, is to think about how do we support and drive this strategy. Well, it starts with our leadership. And if you're not familiar with the gentleman here, this is our CEO who came on board last March. And in his first public appearance, he addressed the company and talked about what it is our mission is. And at the end of the day, our mission is to be the productivity and platform company for mobile and cloud environments. Right? And so it starts at the leadership level, and it includes Office. It includes everything that we do, cloud, and as well as Dynamics. So everything we're thinking about is around making you more productive. Well, I'm going to disconnect here, and I'm going to connect to a device that probably 2 years ago you would never see in a Microsoft employee share. I've connected my iPad to share with you not only the number of apps that are available in other platforms such as iOS and Android, right? But again, I'm being able to support now an environment such as being mobile and needing to be connected, and I'm going to continue the direction with that Business Analyzer app. But you can see here I've got Outlook as an app. I've got Power BI. I've got PowerPoint, Word, and Excel. I mean, a number of different business applications, as well as consumer, that we're providing and delivering across all platforms. In iOS, if you just go and search on the Dynamics, you search for Dynamics, you'll find this app called Business Analyzer. And I'll go ahead and just scroll over to the right, or I'll click into the net summary report, excuse me. And here you can see, again, another example of a dashboard or report. In this case here, I've got my summary view. I might want to go ahead and drill down a little bit and do a comparison year over year. And I can also change that view here and have a different view of the graph. I'll go ahead and back out of that, and then I'll scroll over to the right with my finger. Just wanted to show you some other sample reports. And I mentioned earlier how Business Analyzer allows me to bring in SQL Server reporting services reports, some of the designs, again, that come with the Dynamics ERP, but also those reports that people are designing. We also enable companies to include Excel reports as well as your financial statements. So something that comes from our module called Management Reporter that allows me to deliver an income statement. So again, when I mentioned earlier, that sort of vehicle, it's device independent, but I'm able to give people the information that they need, whether it's KPIs, meaning key performance indicators, charts, graphs, in this case here, my financial statements, all of that in a single application that's coming from the Dynamics ERP. And then if I swipe down here from the top, you can see the ellipsis. I can change my company and my role. If I select on the accounting manager, it kind of brings it back to that same report I started with in the budget tracking. So I'll go ahead and close the home button here, and I'll come back to my home page. And so again, I just wanted to, when I think about delivering mobile solutions to organizations, recognizing that we have a multitude of devices and different platforms, providing organizations the same amount of information, and at the end of the day, we are not concerned about what that device is. So let me disconnect here and kind of start up with the next app, if you will, and this is called Power BI. You can see it's the green button right to the right of my screen here, and Power BI is a component of Office 365, which again is the cloud version or the subscription version of Office, if you're not familiar with it. And Power BI is flat out is powerful. And it provides companies with an easy way of integrating and bringing in data from multiple data sources, but then delivering it, again, similar to what I've shown you, in a number of different platforms, however that be in a phone or a tablet or PC. I'll select on the Power BI here, and again, just what I did is I brought in some data from our Dynamics ERP system. So you can see here I've got some of the sales data and providing me information that's relevant for me. In this case here, I've got some items coming in from my inventory, and I can certainly highlight tools and say, what would we do for the invoice year? I could select it again, and it kind of returns or turns off the filter. Or I can also come here to the item class code on the right-hand side and select on tools. And you notice that the reports in this dashboard are all aligned together. So Power BI understands the relationships between all the data, in this case here, my inventory items, the year, as well as the sales reps down below, and I guess in this case here, profit by salesperson ID. I've got another report here, just a dashboard, again, thinking about the importance of bringing in data from multiple data sources. On the left-hand side, the sales by customer ID is a table or is a chart that I brought in from our Dynamics ERP products. On the right-hand side, using Power BI and the tools and data inquiry, or data query, excuse me, we brought in opportunities from our Dynamics CRM. So often we have customers that are using both applications and need this integration from a reporting as well as from a transactions. So here I've got customer sales and opportunities and giving me the ability to look at that information in a single view. And then this was just kind of showing a different example. I've selected on a chart view of my data. This happens to be sales across the U.S. by state. And then, so nothing more than just showing you kind of some of the differences in how you can design reports with some of the tools within Microsoft Dynamics. So this is the app view of Dynamics, or I'm sorry, of Power BI. And one of the things that is being invested in, again, is knowing that, well, maybe I don't want to install that app. How else can I get to that information? Well, what I'm seeing more and more companies using with Power BI is actually creating that dashboard from a browser. So I'll open up my Internet Explorer, and here again you can see I'm logged in. Here's the URL. I'll just hit F11 to hide that. And so I got a couple of different dashboards. So in the essence of time, I've already brought in the data sets. If you're not familiar with Power BI, there's a wealth of information out on powerbi.com. But basically, you go ahead and create and import data sets, and then I can create reports, and from that I can save components of the report onto my dashboard. So in this case here, let's go ahead and just show you the sample retail analysis. We've kind of built this out a little bit more. You can see here I've got total stores, this year's sales, and some bubble charts. And again, because of the breadth of Power BI, it understands the relationships between all of this data points. As I were to select on one or the other, it would kind of highlight for me. So again, I'll scroll down. You can see this year's sales on the left as well as new stores on the right-hand side. So again, just a wealth of information, and thinking about it as I'm delivering a solution from Microsoft that incorporates our ERP data into a single portal. One of the things that also I'd be remiss if I didn't share with you, and I find eyes light up when I get to present this in an audience, is the natural language. So here's a report, for example, retail sales analysis. And most often, and it's great, it's got color, it presents to me a story, and I can see everything, but yet, if I'm looking for something in particular, I've got to kind of drill down into the report. Well, Power BI allows for natural language selection. So I can actually ask this dashboard a question here. So I'll go ahead and type in margins, for example, and as I'm typing, Power BI is sort of assuming or predicting what I'm going to ask for. So if I type in a little bit more, you'll see now it says, well, do you want gross margins this year or this year percentage? So I'll just say this year percentage, and it automatically knows what I'm asking for. So again, I show that to folks, and their eyes light up like, wow, that is so powerful. Okay. So that's the Power BI, again, integrated within Dynamics, integrated to be able to import data, but also give you that presentation layer. Again, on any device, you saw that I had that available on my iPad as well. The last demonstration and area I wanted to talk about is around time and attendance and thinking about employees and transacting more, interacting with the ERP system. So I showed a lot from the dashboards and reporting, but when I think about companies today, 43% of companies say that mobile apps are top priority. Right? So 43% of those companies say that mobile-friendly websites and mobile version of their business software is a top application priority this year. So when I think about that, I think about the investments that we're making here, one of which just released last week is a time and attendance app. You can see this is a clock right here. I'm highlighting it. And again, this is available in the Windows Store. It has not yet been released to the others, but they're soon to be, they're waiting for approval. Here I am as an employee. So I know we're in June. I was remiss. I actually went on vacation last month, and I didn't want to have it on my conscience. I forgot to submit some of the vacation time here. So I'll come into May, and I can highlight here the dates, the 25, 26, 27, 28, and you'll see automatically I get a keypad that says, is this a vacation, sick, or holiday? And I'll just go ahead and select 8. And you'll notice these are automatically saved. If I were to open this up here, saved, it would show all of that, and then I would go ahead and submit. But, I also have a floating holiday that I wanted to use, so I'll go in here to the 29th. We got back, and I worked half a day. So for the floating holiday, I'm going to select the ellipsis, and I just want to increase my hours, 1, 2, let's go to 4. And then I'll hit OK. And so now I have 4 floating holiday hours submitted, or actually saved, excuse me. So again, I can suppress or uncollapse and open up the save to see all of my time. There's also the option, there'll be a button there that says submit, and then under the submitted, I can recall time as well. Once that is submitted, it then invokes the workflow automation and kind of follows the rules that we've set up during implementation. So I just wanted to show you again, maybe just another business application and kind of thinking about today, and why we came to get together today. I think about what's in your mobile productivity toolbox. With Microsoft, you get business applications and productivity solutions that connect people, processes, and devices. So I wanted to, again, thank you all so much. And our goal in these webcasts is to assist businesses that are to use technology to make them more successful. I think that Microsoft, we offer a complete platform with the flexibility to deliver solutions that you need, both from a server, from a cloud, desktop, and mobile devices. I'd please encourage you to take a test drive with some of the other scenarios that we have on our public domains. And I want to thank you all so much for joining us today and understanding why businesses are leveraging Microsoft. Thank you.